Welcome to Retirement Ramblings. I'm Scott, and today is day 89 on my countdown to retirement. So, it's Saturday. What does that mean? It's weekly financial portfolio review. So, I did my weekly financial review, and we ended up the week being up 0.45%. So, we're now up 12.88% across our portfolio for the year, which for us is a new record. That said, I'm getting really nervous, with the continual run up in the equity prices without having had, even a 3% pullback since I think the April lows. So I know it's coming, and it just makes me really nervous. Anyway, it was a good week. The stock market as a whole ended the week up across all of the indexes. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished up 1.1% at 46,758. The S&P 500 was up 1.1% at 6,716. The Nasdaq was up 1.3% to 22,781, and the Russell 2000 ended the week up 1.7% at 2476. 6 of the 11 S&P 500 sectors were up for the week. That included utilities up 2.4%, healthcare, which was up 6.8% and was the big winner for the week. Industrials up 1.2%, information technology up 2.2%, materials were up 1.1%, and real estate was up 1.3%. WTI crude, though, was down 7.4% for the week to $60.88 a barrel. Gold continued its move forward. It was up 3% to $3,908.90 a troy ounce. That's just amazing to me when it's climbed towards 4,000. Natural gas was up 17.3% to $3.32.4. International markets ended the week up. The winner was Hong Kong, up 3.9%. And then Japan was the laggard for the week. It was only up 0.9% to 45,770. So after doing my financial review for the week, chatted with my wife about what she wanted to do today. She wanted me to look for new chair mat for her where her office chair rolls. It was cracked, had holes, and so she was having difficulty rolling around on her, on the mat by her desk. So I went and researched it, found that, there was a reasonable one at Staples. So we ran over there and picked up a replacement 3x4 mat. And then since we were out by Staples, kind of diagonally across street from there, there's a Mexican restaurant. So we went and grabbed lunch there. And then yesterday, I got my $20 credit from DirecTV. That was a one-time credit trying to keep me continuing with DirecTV, which I had told the guy wasn't going to happen. But the credit hit yesterday. So now that means I have 30 days to move to something else before my monthly cost of DirecTV goes up again. So that I don't want that to happen. So as you guys know, I was looking at smart TVs and other things. So I continued my search for the smart TV, and I had been researching, a number of them, and I had gotten it down to where I was seriously looking at the Vizio 65-inch Quantum 4K QLED smart TV, specifically the model M65 Q6 L4. And so Vizio is owned by Walmart now. So I said, let's go to Walmart and, I want to look at the picture. So we drove over to Walmart, and Walmart had slews of 65-inch TVs, but not that model. So we chatted with the person in electronics. It wasn't going to be in, he checked. They didn't have it at that Walmart, and they didn't have it at any of the other Walmarts in my area, and it wasn't going to show up for at least a week. So I was like, all right, well, we were out already, so Walmart's not that far from our Costco. So I was like, okay, let's drive over to Costco and check out the, TVs at Costco. I mean, I at least can look at them, see if there's anything that looks interesting, and then I can research it and go from there. So but before we left Walmart, there was a couple of other 65-inch ones there. The LG 4K UA 7500, that was $398, and the 65-inch Samsung U8000 TV was $428. So we looked at those pictures. I jotted them down, as potential research candidates. Then we went over to Costco. And then while we were at Costco, I looked at I looked at a 65-inch and I looked at a 75-inch Samsung. And the model on that was a 65 Q7F 4K UHD LCD TV. That's on sale until tomorrow for $499 at Costco. And then the 75-inch version of that model is $200 more, so $699. But that goes on until the middle of the month. So anyway, the picture quality of both of those TVs was excellent. And so I jotted that information down. I talked to one of the folks there about the TVs. I also looked at the back of the TV because I wanted to make sure I understood the ports that were available. Because one of the things that I learned is that smart TVs, basically, for the most part, only support HDMI ARC for audio to connect to sound bars. And, I'm not like, I have a sound bar. I have, audio equipment that I've had for decades. So like, as an example, my my audio receiver, I bought when I was 17. It still works fantastic, and I'm really happy with it. I got a sound bar for my TVs and stuff back in 2008 that I love. It's a Polk Audio Surround 50 in titanium. The thing's awesome for 5.1 surround sound, but it requires wires. So, and I've got my subwoofer, and so all these other things that I've got that are all wired. Well, none of that stuff works on today's smart TVs, but I didn't know that. So, I learned that today, and then, I came back and I was like, okay, well, there's got to be some kind of conversion, because I can't be the only person that still has, what would be considered antiquated equipment, even if the quality that it produces is really great. So I started researching what I would have to go through to move something from, traditional wires, maybe to optical, and then from optical up to the HDMI ARC. Like, you can do it, but the cost to do it it doesn't make sense. I mean, you might as well just buy something new. And I didn't want to do that. So therefore I said, okay, well then I need to make sure that the audio quality coming out of the TVs is more than sufficient for what I want. And I also wanted to make sure that the TVs could support at least 2 Bluetooth headsets so that, my wife and I could have different volumes if we needed to based on our hearing when we're watching the same program versus just, having to have something blasting if that was what we needed versus somebody else who it was way too loud for them. So that being said, I collect all the information, come back, and I go to my handy AI assistant Grok, and I put in all of the details along with what criteria I want to use to rank things. So I specify all the stuff, I give Grok the information, and Grok does the analysis, comes back, and basically tells me to go with my original selection, which was that Vizio 65-inch Quantum 4K QLED Smart TV, the model M65Q6-L4. And I should pair that with a Mohu Gateway Plus indoor amplified over-the-air antenna so that I can pick up local channels 24/7. And since I've already, as one of my criteria was, I planned on using Sling Blue and to add on the News Extra. So Sling Blue is $45.99 $49.99 a month. The new's extra $6 a month. So you're talking about $51.99 versus, over $90 for DirecTV. And I can get more channels than I care to watch by doing that. So, it's roughly a little under 50% monthly savings if I go down that path. So I search around. I find that there is one of the Vizio 65-inch TVs at Target that's within a reasonable driving distance from my house. So I go over there, I buy the Vizio TV. And then I leave there and I go to Best Buy and I get the last Mohu antenna that they have in stock, and they won't get another set for 2 more weeks. So I got everything I need to be able to mount the television. My wife wants me to move the TV viewing area, which currently is in our sunroom, into our living room. And so, and she wants me to put it above where our fireplace is. So I've got to go get a wall mount, which I'll research which ones go with the TV that we just got. And then I'll go put the wall mount up, mount the TV, get everything wired up and whatever over the next day or so. And then my buddy said I should go get a Fire Stick and plug it into my old TVs to just use those, kind of as secondhand TVs. I can move it into our guest rooms or whatever I want to do. Anyway, all of that stuff that I just said, when it was all said and done, getting the TV, getting the over-the-air antenna, after tax, it ended up costing me $492.18, which I thought was a darn good price to be able to solve the problem. And like I said, be able to ongoing save about 50%, on the cost of our service going forward for regular television services. And then the Best Buy was pretty close to a pizza place that we like, so we ran in there and got a pepperoni pizza before driving home with all the stuff and unpacking it. So net that was my day. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below or drop me an email at myretirementramblings@gmail.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and until tomorrow, take care.